Hey y'all, Melissa here at Twin Oaks Family Farm in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. It is May 25th, 2024, doing a Saturday show and tell and share for our YouTube channel. And we are actually going to backtrack behind me into the meat bird production barn, but I'm going to show you something over here in my flower bed right beside my house before we go over there. And it's a good day out here on the farm. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Show and tell and share. We just kind of talk about and show you some things that are going on here where we are, rural Southeast Ohio, USA. Our YouTube channel, Twin Oaks Farm Poultry, mostly is focused on our experiences raising Cornish rock cross meat chickens for poultry production. Sometimes we throw in our egg production flocks. Got some hens that we get eggs from and offer on sales, subscription sales, and on-demand sales for eggs by the dozen. And then sometimes we just have other things going on that we like to tell you about, including the 21-day lifestyle challenge that I've issued to myself to just eat real food. So I've been keeping you up to date on how that's going. You can catch those videos, eat real food. So before we go back to the barn, I wanted to show y'all this rose here. It's so pretty. It's just bloomed here about 3 days ago. And it actually used to be more like a dark orange color. So I don't know if at this point in time, this rose bush has been here for years. I don't know if it's gone back like to its seed stock, and the color is different than it used to be. But anyway, there's also a pretty white one right there. And I think this one behind the pink colored one is just kind of a red one. But this is all this creeping phlox that bloomed, I think back probably early April, and then the rest of the season it'll be kind of an evergreen. We've got some black-eyed Susans that were there. We thought we had dug them all out, and we had not dug them all out. So we still have some there. There's Tanner the Dotson over there, and Gus is over there. That field is actually a neighbor's of ours. So anyway, so we're going to go into the barn, and so show and tell and share today. I'm going to look at our meat birds. Come on, Tanner and Gus, come on. You guys might as well come with me. Yep, you might as well come with me. And we'll look at them, tell you where we're at with this flock, second flock of 2024. This is our meat bird production barn here. And also going to tell you about that Eat Real Food Challenge and show you what I'm using as the staple mainstay for myself daily on that. This is a flower bed that I have shown in a YouTube video. It really needs some love and attention, but we've got some foundation pieces in here that are going to stay. We've got this stone border. The stones in the back are bigger. We've got a few little statues. We've got angels. We've got Blessed Mother Mary there, and a truck. Welcome sign, because we love trucks. The the dianthus, these are clove-scented. So they are a perennial. They'll stay there. These are sunflowers that we're growing. We started them actually in little strawberry tubs, just like these tubs. So I guess you're getting a little show and tell and share in the garden too, in my favorite flower bed. So we started those sunflower seeds in strawberry tubs just like these. Now these are cosmos that we started, and they're ready for some transplants. So I need to figure out where I want to put them. We've got some of the sunflowers there. And check out in the back here. So we did sunflowers all along the back, but we have lots of chipmunks, lots of bunnies. So we wanted to start those, give them a good start before we transplanted them over here, but all back through this corner and a set of them there. So they need a little bit of attention too, but they're doing well. Lilies, those come back every year. We've got the irises, which those are all. We've got a few little blooms that are just about done. The irises, and this was some kind of sage, really highly scented. Really like it too, but the irises are grape scented. They smell wonderful. The peonies, they're done, and the hostas there, they'll bloom like in the summer for us here. But I know the blocks, the little pavers, they're not staying in here, and it obviously some weed control. I think we're going to try some weed barrier that's a little more durable than typical weed barrier, but still lets moisture through. But I really do like that flower bed. So we'll give you a look at it again when we've done some work to it. I'm hoping within about a month we'll have that looking more eye appealing and attractive. But hey, Tanner, you and Gus still need to come with me to the barn. They love being outside. So we are gonna head in here. Hey, thanks for bearing with me. Gosh, we've been finding snakes. Y'all, I found 2 snakes this morning. Not here, not at this barn, but if you might have seen a short that we put up on YouTube, we had found a black snake right here on that runner board at the bottom of the wall here. And I'll tell you where we think it came from, because my husband had seen it actually slithering in there, and then he waited to see where it went. But we still have this old truck cab here, and so like that scrap, you know, that's an area where they can find some cover, the snakes can. So we knew we'd probably see one. We thought it was in there. We're probably not going to be able to get this scrap moved until maybe this coming week, we hope. We'd hoped it'd been out. We could have had it moved out sooner, but we're thinking this coming week that. And y'all saw the truck frame right there. So those, we got to get the wheels off of it. They'd still be good, and the back tires were still good on that dually truck, but the frame itself and that cab needs to go to scrap. But that snake that came in here, that's where it came from. And so that if you look up those shorts, apparently that was kind of controversial on our YouTube channel, because oh, look here, because we I'm gonna try to turn the camera around and talk to y'all face to face so to speak. So that set of shorts with that snake from this meat bird barn were kind of controversial, apparently, because we had one short showing the snake where it was on that little runner board, and then we had another short where my husband had a hold of the snake by its tail, and he was shaking it, and there was a reason for that. And we did a third short complimentary to those where I like interviewed him, like, we saw you shaking the snake, why were you doing that? And he gives the explanation. So if you haven't seen those shorts about the snake, I don't know, look up our channel, Twin Oaks Farm Poultry, and look up the content in the shorts and see if you can find those. But on the one where he was relocating the snake and carrying it, we had somebody comment on there, that's a fake snake. And of course, you know, I'm like 0 to 60 in 1 second through the ceiling on that, because that was not a fake snake. It was a real snake. We did not misrepresent any content. And I'm like, my husband and I have one son that'll do that too. Anybody who's brave enough to handle a real snake, I'm like, nobody should be talking about them, and nobody should be misrepresenting what they were actually doing, because I'm not brave enough to handle a real snake myself. So anyway, but it wasn't a fake snake. And today, they weren't fake snakes. I've seen a black snake, and we got some video on it. Probably going to load it up on YouTube, May 25th, 2024. And saw a garter snake, too, in the same area. So what that tells us is, you know, we got to go on the snake control practices better than we're doing. But, you know, essentially, if you keep things picked up and you keep things mowed down, the snakes can't find cover. So, you know, that helps control that. But anyway, around livestock, you know, you typically will come across snakes every now and then, because, well, there's feed around, and not that that's attracting the snakes, but the feed around could be attracting rodents. And the rodents could be attracting the snakes, because the snakes could eat the rodents. So in that sense, snakes can be good rodent control. So so we don't always hate on the snakes, because if they're a non-venomous kind of snake, we're just like, okay, well, you know, let's live and let's live. Let's live and let live. Let's be cool with that. I don't, you know, I do have a little bit of a phobia. Like, I'm always looking up at the rafters in the smaller buildings. Like, I don't want one up there, you know, above me. And I don't want to go into a hen house and be reaching in the nest box or for a clutch of eggs and see a snake. I would probably overreact to that. But if I would just see one, you know, like around the barn, we're kind of like, okay, live and let live. But we sometimes do relocate them, though, if we see them in the barn. So that's what we did with that one here. And the ones I was seeing today, we're going to go look for them again. And they're around a hen house area, and if we find them, we're gonna relocate them, because not so much up at the hen house, but here with these meat birds, you see these birds now that you're looking at, What are they? Gosh, I have to take a few seconds here and do the numbers. So this is a Saturday. They actually go to the processor Tuesday, at which time they'll be 37 days old. So counting back from there to today, Monday come in, they'll be 36 days old. Tomorrow they'll be 35 days old. So today, looking at them in this video, they're 34 days old. So 34 days old, these birds good sized. I'm not concerned about a snake, slithers in the building over here in this area and we can remove it. But we bring these birds in when they're a day old and they're itty bitty chicks. So just 34 days ago, these were the size of a chicken egg, And so a snake, a black snake, that could be a problem in a group of chicks, because I'm sure they would eat one if they're hungry, because they go after birds, birds' nests, wild birds. They go after mouse nests, baby mice, so oh boys. And shouldn't say boys, because look, the one on the left is a guy, the one on the right is a gal. So the hens demonstrate that chicken fight behavior too. But anyway, so we wouldn't want black snakes coming in when we're having chicks here, So we do keep an eye out, be mindful, assess, is there a risk here? Is there a threat to livestock here? And we decide accordingly. Can we leave the snake alone and let live? Or do we need to relocate the snake? And only in the case of the snake presenting some kind of unmitigatable nuisance risk would we even consider killing one of the non-venomous snakes. We just relocate them. But we don't want them coming around the house, and we don't want breeding pairs establishing a snake clutch, especially around our home. So we do watch for those kind of things. But these birds, so let's get to these birds. So that's going to be kind of a part of our show and tell, and then I'm going to show you what the mainstay of my Eat Real Food lifestyle challenge here, 21-day lifestyle change that I'm doing. I'm going to show you what the main staple of that is and tell you about it, and then going to highlight a couple of the channels that I like to watch, again, which I've been doing, and I want to try to check out some new channels too, but the bottom line is we just haven't had time. I haven't had time. So I'm sticking with my tried and trues that I like to watch and keep up with, and sticking to getting my work done. So here we go on the birds. What's the update? 30, what did we just say? I'm forgetting. 34 days old. Yeah, 34 days old, okay? So I was just in here working a little bit. Just in here working. This one's I was kind of going in on that one because it's kind of dust bathing there. It might show us a little dust bathing. Both of those two. So I was kind of in here doing some work, and I was thinking, man, it's getting warmer in here than I thought. But we are approaching, I want to show you this. I want to show you that. See how that bird's leaning up on its side? So we are approaching about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And so that's a little warm for these birds, probably about 10 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than they want to be. We see one, well, we see several showing us a panting behavior and spreading the wings out. That's the coping mechanism for heat. Okay, now this one is doing that again up on its side. That's also a coping mechanism for heat. It's exposing the unfeathered underbelly. Air is moving through there, and one just blocked it. But when the air moves through there over the underbelly, that helps cool that bird down. But I wanted to show you that because this is a thing that is a risk in Cornish rock cross meat chickens in particular. Here's another one. There's one just going into that posture. This is a show and tell with the birds part of today's video. This posture is really a risk with meat birds. And this is kind of a reason that we really want to strive to keep the ambient temperature comfortable, because they won't demonstrate this posture quite as much if they're really content with temperature, okay? And the reason this posture is concerning is because if that bird tips back further and loses its balance and rolls over on its back, it is stuck. It cannot get turned right side up on its own. It's kind of like, I'm on my back. If you see me on my back, set me up. They can't get turned right side up on their own. What's the problem with that? The problem with that is a bird on its back can't breathe. So it's only going to stay that way for so long. And then, see this one? See how it's rolling back? And as you watch it, you're like, oh, it's going to lose its balance. And it's going to roll on its back. And if it rolls on its back and somebody's there to see that, you can rescue it. You can flip it right side over and everything's okay. But if nobody's there and a bird flips on its back, and see how they do? And you worry if it gets flipped on its back that it's going to suffocate itself. So, and that's what will happen. If they get on their back, they're going to run out of air and they're going to end up dying. And so actually this flock started, see how you kind of worry, like, are you okay? But this flock started with 126 birds. We're counting 122. That's what's documented on the calendar right now. We could get to the end and get the official count and find out that I miscounted somewhere, like maybe at the initial count when we moved them in. But we are documenting 122 at this point. And two of those flock loss were in the first week, so failure to thrive. And one and the other two actually were just here recently. So one of those we believe was a heart distress, and one of those, I think that's exactly what happened. I think it got rolled over on its back and couldn't breathe because it was one of the biggest, strongest birds in the flock. So it probably lost its balance, got rolled over, and it was a time when somebody wasn't in the barn and it couldn't breathe. Now, in all the Cornish rock cross meat chickens we've had one that it was the oddest thing. It was a big rooster, and it had a tendency to get turned over. I don't know how many times we found it on its back, probably about 6 times. And I don't know how long it stayed on its back, waiting for us to find it. But it was the only one I ever saw that kind of put this together. It figured out if it could hold its head up. So if you can imagine it laying on its back on the ground, and it's tucking its head up toward its chest as much as it possibly can. But, it figured out if it could tuck its head up there, that relieved the pressure that was created on its breathing apparatus by being on its back. And so then it could still continue to breathe, and it could just wait until a rescue person came along. So it's the only one we've ever found that figured it out, and that kind of just on its own figured out a way to just stay alive, and then it just waited there. So other than that, they can't. And then like when they're dust bathing or they go to scratch, and like when they're preening, like they'll kind of scratch at themselves a little bit. Like there's one back there. Any of this posture like that, these birds run a risk of a tip over. So we can see that happen. But so the other thing going on here is the bedding. We've got this bedding here. So this comes like that in a new bag, and we just took the bag and opened it up and just kind of spread it along here and spread it with a pitchfork quickly. And we let the birds just like scratch in it. But they love new bedding, and part of the reason we put that down was because it makes it feel cooler to them. And so when I had started out looking at the birds and I said I was working in here and I was putting this bedding down, it was really hot. Well, I realized this doorway was not open. So we've got north to south airflow right here. And then we also have doors on the other sides. But this doorway wasn't open, so that air was not able to move through here as much. But we are able to have that door open now, and that made a big difference when I opened that door. So the main thing on the agenda with the meat birds for today, they're 34 days old, is just keeping them comfortable. We've got water to them. We do have feed in. We're going to wait till evening to put more feed in. And I've got another video I'm going to upload, and I misspoke on it. And it was when they were 33 days old. And I said we had fed 800 pounds of food and had 200 pounds of food left, and that was wrong. We had already fed 900 pounds of food and have 100 pounds of food left, which we still do there too, because we had filled feeders, so we had distributed 900 pounds of food. So as of day 34, that's still where we're at. We've given them 900 pounds of food. We have 100 pounds left, and we're going to try timing that so they're eating it up as we are in the afternoon of day 36. And then that's when we have to take the feed away, day 36, to initiate total feed withdrawal before processing. And they'll go to processing on day 37, right? Okay. So also these birds over here, next thing I'm going to do after I am done with the video is I'm going to walk over here and I'm going to have all these birds like move, get up and move them over to where that new bedding is. Because like even this hen on the left, these are both hens. But see, there's not as much airflow back here and they've got themselves stuck in a corner, and I don't want that as the day goes on and gets hotter. We're supposed to be close to 90 degrees Fahrenheit throughout Memorial Day weekend 2024 here in rural Southeast Ohio, USA. So we've got another bag of bedding we'll actually put down here. It'll look similar to what we have happening there. We'll get all these birds to like move into this area so that they're more or less between the north and the south doorways, and then that'll position them so that they're in the optimum place where air is moving over them. And we could block off this back part of the building, but I don't think we'll have to, because when we get this comfortable with new bedding and we have their resources here, they're going to stay where that stuff is. And then for the bulk of the hot part of the day, they're just going to kind of hang out and stay still, and they'll they'll maintain their routine of eat, drink, manure, rest as the day goes on and into the cooler part of the day. So that's what we want to see. But right here, the temperature feels pretty good because we've got this airflow path here. So, okay, so let's get to the other things because we want to wrap this one up pretty soon. So I've been doing 21-day lifestyle change of just eating real foods. Gus, stay on that side of the short wall, bud. Yep, we don't need your help in the chicken pen today. So just eat real foods. So the basis of this was that I needed to, had a recognition that I needed to not be including foods and food-like products and beverages that have high fructose corn syrup in them in what I'm consuming. I also want to avoid food dyes. I really want to avoid anything that's highly processed. And I knew that there had to be some connection. I had a lot of pain in my hands and my feet and the muscles of my eyes. And I knew that there had to be a connection with what I was putting into my body and what I was feeling from what my body was telling me. So it's been now 2 weeks and I haven't had any soda, and I've been drinking water and tea. And the main thing that I've been using to give myself nourishment and give myself something to feel full with through the day is chicken broth plus fruits, vegetables, meat, eggs, anything that's not highly processed, okay? And so I've done some videos helping tell people about what I've been doing, but here's what I'm doing with the chicken broth to help me. So we can make chicken broth, obviously, right? So I do have some whole chickens, that when we cook those, we can strain the broth. I have chicken broth. We also have something called chicken frames, and that's what's left from the chicken at the processors when they do the custom cuts, like when we get chicken breasts and chicken wings and chicken thighs and chicken drumsticks. Everything else that's left is like called a chicken frame or a chicken back, and they can put all of that in a vacuum seal package, and they'll put about 4 of them in a single package, and then I get packages of chicken backs, and we can sell those too to our clients, or we can use them. So if I have time to do that, that's what I use. But if I don't have time to do that, I can keep this in my pantry. So it's just chicken broth. I'm going to turn the box around here. It's just chicken broth, but this is what I've been using. So I had been using, I tried one that was like an independent grocer's store brand, and then when I used it a couple of days, and then I got to looking closer at the can, and it said contains a bioengineered food ingredient, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just find one that doesn't have that on the label. And so then I was using collagen, and it was good, but then I figured out the, the per ounce price is cheapest in the cans. But I thought, well, if I try this, maybe I'll use all of this in one day. So 32 ounces of chicken broth a day is what I'm doing. And what I'll end up doing with this is I'll just heat this up on the stovetop to boiling and let it get good and hot. and then I'll put that in this insulated tumbler, and that will keep this hot for hours. So I actually can sip on it through the day like a warm, like a warm beverage. And if you don't want it warm, you can just let it cool. So I've been doing that, but you can also use it like soup, to make a meal. But that keeps me filled up, helps keep me nourished, and of course I can utilize other foods to add in other nutrients and to make me feel full and make me feel better. But I want to stick to that chicken broth. And so I've noticed several things. Well, first thing is the pain went away from my hands and my feet like within 4 days. And so now, like 2 weeks in, when I get up in the morning, I don't have any pain in my hands and in my feet. But I've also noticed like the texture of my hair has improved, the texture of my fingernails has improved, the appearance of them, and the texture of my skin has improved. And so collagen is a big component in chicken broth, and I'm thinking that's the connection. Collagen in the chicken broth is helping with all these other things as well. So show and tell, basis of that is if you're having any kind of struggle with anything, with your diet or with your food choices or with what you're eating or with how your body's feeling, that's something you could try that is working for me, that is helping me. You can go back to what are you actually consuming? Are there things that we need to cut out? And is there something that's alternative that we can include that will actually be good for us and make us feel good? And just 2 weeks into this, I'm already noticing, like, if I eat something that's really a lot of carbs, really a lot of starch, or like really heavy, maybe even has some grease, I recognize almost immediately, like, that is not making my body feel good. So, it does end up, I think, changing, our awareness and perception of what to put in our body, because we get in touch with what makes it feel good, what makes it feel bad. And so it's a great awareness to realize, like for me, that previously a lot of the choices I was making about what I would consume, that's what was making me feel bad. And if I correct my choices, my body will hopefully heal a lot of things from the inside and correct itself as far as how it's feeling. So that's what I'm hoping, but show and tell on that. And I do want to shout out to Chimma's Chicken Coop in Germany. I need to check back in actually, because Chimma was going for a milestone on number of subscribers and was super close here in the last couple of days, the last time I saw the channel. So check out Chimma's Chicken Coop out of Germany. I'll put a link and note of it in the comments and in the description, and you can zip over there, subscribe to his channel, give him some feedback, and help him out with that. So it's going to be pretty cool. Maybe Chim has already reached that subscriber milestone. We'll check it out. Also, Farmer Always in Canada. I love their stories of their ranch. I love seeing what they're doing on their ranch. I love the scenery around where they're living. It's just beautiful. So that is Farmer Always out of Canada. I'll also note it in the comments and description, and hope you'll check them out. Subscribe, give some feedback to them, and as always, hope you'll continue to join us at Twin Oaks Farm Poultry on YouTube. We are getting closer to 1,000+ subscribers, and so as the weekend goes on, we're going to go see if we can do snake control. We are also, my own personal social media use, I am going off of Facebook, so doing some restructuring there, and we're going to continue to work at our YouTube channel and try to get to the 1,000 subscribers and reassess where we're at with that at that point. But we appreciate y'all so very much. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you will be encouraged to eat real food, raise or produce some of your own food if that's possible for your season of life and your resources, and please do support local agriculture wherever local is for you, because 100% of us eat, but less than 2% of us produce the food here in the United States of America. Support your local farmers and ranchers and keep American agriculture alive and thriving. Thanks, y'all. We don't post on Sunday on YouTube, so no uploads tomorrow. Memorial Day in the USA is coming up on May 27th, 2024, and we will do a YouTube upload that day. So thanks for joining us. We're going to go ahead and put some uploads of some other things going on around the property on YouTube today for Saturday, May 25th, 2024. So, yes, you scared the chickens. Gosh, you need to get back down. But thanks, y'all. We really appreciate you being here. Here's a last look at Tanner out in the yard. Gus is checking out my chicken broth. Hey, buddy. No. And we are signing off. God bless y'all. Eat real food.